All right. How is everyone doing? My name is Andrea Solorzano, and I am here with Eva, and we are going to be talking about how to become a high value woman. So, Eva, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? What got you started? Have you interested in this type of work?
Oh my gosh, this is very exciting. So, Andrea, first of all, it took me a long time to get to this place. But once I got here, I really locked in and I knew where I was going and I moved forward. I started a business called Embodiment is Everything, where I understand now that in order to move forward with anything in life, you have to do more than just think about it. You have to become it. So a high value woman is more than just a word. It's more than just a phrase. If you're not walking the talk that you're talking about, then it's just a few words that you're just blowing smoke in the air. So I've learned to really pay attention to myself moment by moment so that I can make sure that I was moving forward in the direction that I wanted to go. How I conducted myself, how I thought about where I was going in my future, how I felt about life in general, how I felt about my body, how I felt about my work, my family, my love, everything. I had to put it in a category that was higher than what I thought I could reach. And moment by moment, I started to reach those things. And when that happened, I was like, oh, it's happening. I'm seeing it. Yesterday was different than the day before. Today is different than 5 minutes ago. So for me, a high value person, AKA now a woman, is very aware of how she shows up in the world. She's very aware of what she allows in her life. She's very aware of what she will receive, and she's very aware of what she gives. And when she's very aware, she understands what self-esteem means, she understands what worthiness means, she understands what confidence means, and she moves forward walking in those steps. So that's what I feel. What about you?
I think that is so beautiful. I mean, there's so many things that you've touched on that was getting my gears going because
Good.
this was something that I was in a very deep, dark place before, and I was thinking the same thing. I want to become a woman who is of high value, but I started off with what does value even mean to me, right? Like, what does it feel like to be a person of value or be in the presence of somebody that you find very valuable in your life experience? So I really started with that foundation of what can I give, like you mentioned. And I think a lot of the things when it comes to value, it comes from a place or it comes from somewhere that you can't even see, right? But like you mentioned, awareness, that is something that you can't really see, you embody, which is why I love your work so much. So I am someone who I am so very interested and so passionate about manifestation and just the energy work. So I am starting my own business as well, as a manifestation coach. So now I have been on this journey of embodying and manifesting a high value woman. And what does that look like to me? And so where I started was figuring out, what does value mean to me? What are those things that I find valuable? What are my core values? Like I said, these are things that you can't see. So I'm thinking about things such as honesty, integrity, listening, teamwork, servitude. All of these things, I think, classify somebody as being high value. That's the things that I value when I'm in the presence of a person who is just exuding value just by, again, just their presence, right? So to me, value, when it comes to high value, I believe it is a matter of like nurturing those core values that you already have within you. So it is my pursuit, it's my journey, it's my passion to be able to help others see the value that they already have within them. It's just a matter of capitalizing on that. And like you mentioned before, was every day you gain a little bit more, you add a little bit more to that. And
Yes.
it's through life experience, I feel like, is where it really comes down, what it comes down to.
Yes. And I would love to piggyback on that. Sometimes you don't know that you are trapped in a cycle. And when you don't know that you're trapped in a cycle, you find yourself kind of like on a hamster wheel. You're just going, 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 going. I love to tell ladies, when you're working on embodying this new perspective and this new energy, you have to take a pause. You have to step back and say to yourself, am I moving in the direction that I envisioned for myself? Because sometimes if we are if we're in a program that is not of our own, maybe something happened when we were, I don't know, out on a date one night and we felt like less than, or we were at a job and we didn't get a promotion and we felt insecure about those things. And the shame from that caused us to either hold ourselves in a low vibrating pattern and we weren't ever able to move forward. So I love to put myself in timeout. And when I put myself in timeout, I'm like, hey, you said that you were going to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I'm like, oh. So
right.
It's a journey, right? It's a journey. And it's a journey where you want to feel that you're making some type of movement, even if it's just baby steps during that time. But you're worthy. Andrea,
right.
I'm worthy. You're worthy. The next woman is worthy. We're worthy because we are. We don't have to do anything to feel worthy. Being born makes us worthy. And once you realize that, you can stop holding yourself in this low vibrating energy. You can move yourself forward, even if it's just, for that moment. We have to remember we're worthy because we are. And once the world understands that when women raise their vibration and they feel the respect that they should have internally and then it goes externally, in my opinion, the world will become a better place, because more women really taking care of themselves, treating themselves with respect, and moving forward and trying to raise the collective, then to me that is a triple, quadruple win over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
so that's
you're bringing. Totally, I believe that you bring value. Once you start valuing yourself, that emanates from your core. And other people can feel that. It's just like, you can just feel when you are in the presence of somebody who is exuding confidence. You feel like you've just gathered a little bit of that just by being in I understand that. And I think it's hard for us to, when we are bogged down by some sort of contrast that happens, like you mentioned, the bad date, right? And then we kind of get swept up by that bad vibration for something not turning out the way that we had imagined it to be, right? And I think it's always a matter of just like realigning yourself, like you had mentioned, asking yourself these questions of, all right, who do I want to become today? Like, how do I want to be right now? Like, how do I really want to react? Because the way that you react, that's really what defines you, right? Like, no matter, there's always going to be challenges that we face, and it's our reaction to these challenges and the, even the beautiful moments, those are the things that truly define us. And what also brings value to other people. Imagine being with somebody and you see that they're in a challenging position, but they're carrying themselves as a high value person, being dedicated to solutions and figuring out along the way. I just think that's what I was thinking about.
The other day I was in New York City and I was walking and a lot of times in the city you're just going fast. You just need to get where you're going. You're in a hurry. But I like to pay attention to people. I like to see if I can pick out the person, in particular women who really feel good about themselves. just based on the energy that they're exuding. Because that is, as we've said before, that is a characteristic that we find valuable. Now, whether the person is having a bad day or not, I don't know, but I want to see what I feel when I'm passing by them. Because being high value is way more than the clothes you have on, way more than the car you drive, way more than the community that you live in, way more than the house that you're in. It's also an energetic feel. And I consider myself a high value woman, but who's on the journey of improving all the time. All the time. Where I am today is not where I want to be tomorrow. I always want to be stretching and expanding, where I feel like, well, my time on this earth, I'm doing everything that I can, that I'm aware of, that I'm consciously aware of, that is helping somebody, some woman, to stretch herself and expand herself in a positive way that is easy. But back to what I was saying about in New York, there's one particular woman, she was walking through the crowd, and it was almost as if the crowd parted for her. And she was walking through, and I was saying to myself, oh, come closer, come closer. I want to see what I feel around you. I didn't say that to her out loud, but this is what I was saying to myself. I'm like, ooh, come closer. Because she exuded, she was oozing the beauty of a woman. She was oozing the energetic confidence and the calmness and the femininity of a woman. And she just pulled my soul towards her. She didn't say one word to me. To me, when you don't have to say a word, your energy is speaking. Sometimes we talk more than we should be talking. And what I mean by that, not in a disrespectful way, but it's almost sometimes we're trying to convince ourselves that we are one thing when we are struggling to figure out if we are rising to the occasion. We have to tap down into our bodies. We have to tap down into our hearts. We have to tap down into the feeling of being a woman. And being a woman is one of the most beautiful things that we can be given as a woman. And I think that we don't take advantage of that. This woman took advantage of it. She took advantage of it. She was not trying to move fast. She was not saying that a woman can't be women by moving fast, but she was just flowing in her energy. You can tell that her breath was with her body. She wasn't panting. She wasn't hot from the streets of New York. She wasn't trying to get anywhere quick. And in that moment, I took something from her that she didn't realize that I was so happy to get. I got the energy of calm, the energy of peace, the energy of it's all being taken care of. Because when you really think about it, things are being taken care of all the time. If you allow and practice the art of allowing and really clean up the vibration that you have and embody what you want, my friend, that's a win over and over and over again. So my hat goes off to her. She was my hero for the day.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's beautiful. Like, even just having that image and someone to refer to and then share that story with other women, that's a valuable story, right? Like, that is something that person has inspired you. And I think what happens a lot is that we are wounded. Like, we have wounds from sisterhood. Somehow, some way. I know for me personally, now it's a lot better, but my relationship with my mother and my sister weren't super strong when I was younger. So growing up, I was using those wounds and putting that forward into my relationships with other women. So
oh my God,
so things such as, like, I don't know, even like jealousy, or even not wanting other women to succeed as much as they want to, or follow their dreams, or not allow a man to take care of you, or not allow a man to take care of you and be more independent. All of these predispositions about how you should feel about something, and all this like toxic behavior I was bringing forward in my sisterhood. So that was a huge realization for me, to be able to walk down the street and then allow myself to be inspired by a woman, inspired by a strong, healthy woman. And I think that is like a way that we can break through from that, being able to understand that there's things I need to work on, and that's okay, you know? And if that's where I want to be, like, I'm going to take that image and put it in my bank right now and use that as something, to work towards. So I love that you brought up that example. I think we can always be inspired by other people. So Eva, I wanted to ask you, what are some questions that you kind of ask yourself that kind of keeps you in check with, and keeps you in line with becoming and keep on pursuing to become this high value woman? How do you check yourself, basically?
Oh, this one is a good one. So I have learned to be intentional about my day. So when I get up in the morning, I start immediately before the negative talk, the fight, flight, or freeze that we humans, we animals have been given to protect ourselves in nature. So our bodies as women, as humans, we have this mechanism that is always trying to protect us. It's always trying to keep us from danger. But I don't need anything protecting me as soon as I wake up in the morning. So what I've realized about myself, if I know that I can go off and start to have a negative conversation, I intentionally set my day with meditation. I intentionally set my day on how I want it to be. I think about what kind of feelings I want to have. I think about how I'm going to show up in the world. And that is my guideline for the day. That is my foundational set point. Mm-hmm. That is what my temperature starts off as. Okay, because if I know that, I know that history now for me and from me has given me enough data to know that I can have moments where I'm negative. So if I have moments that I'm negative, what do I need to do to counter that? So that's what I do to counter that. So I have to keep myself in check. I'm human. Right. I'm human. Nobody's going to ever graduate from human experience. But what we can do is soothe ourselves, make sure that we are processing the information, putting ourselves in check immediately so that we are stable and we have the emotional control that we need so that we can become these powerful women that we are put on the earth to be. We're not put on the earth for suffering. No. I refuse to believe that. We're not put on the earth to suffer. We have evolved ourselves in beautiful ways that we can use these strategies and techniques that we can make sure that our lives are moving forward. So that's what I do. I make sure that I have my beginning set points, my temperature. It's kind of like when you go to your thermostat and you put it on 72, you know that it's going to be on 72. So if I know that I'm going to have those moments where I'm going to dip, let me put my temperature on 72, my emotional and mental temperature, whatever temperature that's going to be for the day. And then I make sure that I am aware. So when I start slipping, I'm like, no. You know where we're going. That takes us back. I don't want to be a fortune teller of the past. I want to be present so that I can move forward in my future. I like to remember my future. I like to know where I'm going, not where I've been. What about you? What do you do?
Yeah. So I do something similar. I also meditate every morning, and I also do some journal prompts. So that was so what you mentioned. One of the questions that you said was, who do I want to become? That was something I was asking myself every day for at least like a year and a half, just saying, okay, what am I even creating? Right? Because I think about it, my background is in art. So with art, it's layer after layer after layer. You start with the sketch, then you go over it with one layer of paint, and you just keep adding on to those layers of paint, because it's almost like you're building something, right? You're painting a picture. Yes. So it's like, what type of picture do you want to paint? What like as a sculptor, what type of statue do you want to sculpt? You know, is this going to be a sculpture or painting of excellence? Right? Are these things like what sort of qualities do you want to add to that? What sort of things do you want to take away? I feel like there's a lot that can also get kind of put on the back burner is, you know, sometimes when it comes to leveling up and to becoming a high value woman, you have to take away things too. That being your limiting beliefs, your triggers, your doubts, all of those things, those are blocking that energy that moves through you, that, you know, is giving you already those values and stuff that you already have within you. So I 100% believe that asking, and I think I'm going to go back to that journal prompt now that I'm like, we're talking about it, because I'm thinking like it's a constant work of art, right? Like asking yourself, how can you improve? How do you want to show up in the world? What do you want to give today? And what do you want to receive today? Those were things that I was constant. And what are you grateful for? This is just an easy way for me to start off my morning and, get into meditation. It's like what you said, it's like you're kind of just setting the tone, for the entire day. And I think throughout the day, like you said, you're constantly asking those questions and realigning yourself. And one thing, I want to take it a step further by also adding in what you're grateful for in those journaling techniques, those journal prompts. So realigning yourself, asking who do I want to be in this moment, but what am I grateful for right now? Like, even though I might need to check myself in this moment, but what am I grateful for? Okay, I'm grateful that I was able to receive that message and I have an opportunity to work on myself in this moment.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
That's
like,
good.
You know what I mean? Okay, yes. We have a minute left on this recording. Should we just start a new one?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Okay, bye.
Bye.